We've reached the midpoint in Season 7, so it's time once again to take a broad look at the state of affairs of Gold Rush. And what better way than to analyze the man who started it all? So kick back and enjoy what I call Why the World Hates Todd Hoffman. I think we can agree that the Gold Rush of Season 7 is not the Gold Rush of Season 1. What started as a bunch of out-of-work everymen bumbling their way toward the American dream has turned into a bunch of rich men stumbling their way through terrible scripts. And chief among them is Todd Hoffman. Now, it's easy for someone to take shots at Todd, and the arguments against doing it are sound, and they break into one of the following categories. Without Todd Hoffman, there would be no Gold Rush. He's made millions gold mining. At least he's out there trying to do something. You're just in your mom's basement. What have you ever accomplished? If you don't like it, why do you watch? Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man. So let's take a look at each one of these arguments and find out exactly how deep a hole Discovery has dug by continually hitching their dozers to Todd Hoffman. First, let's deal with the fact that Todd Hoffman is the creator of Gold Rush. It's undisputed. He came up with the idea, brought it to Discovery, and got them to pay for it. That's the dream he had, and he achieved it. And in Season 1, I loved watching Todd suffer through the struggles of mining. In Season 2, well, that was a little less precious than it seemed the year before. Season 3 needed Dave to save Todd from himself. And then there was Season 4. Guyana. His segments basically became unwatchable, even for those who tuned in just to watch a train wreck. And since then, and some would argue since Season 2, many believe Todd Hoffman has worn out his welcome on Gold Rush. 7 years after starting, he is still failing. Badly. He doesn't seem to have learned anything. He contributes little to the tasks, his mood is all over the place, 1 minute he is bonding, the next he's tearing Parker down. Did he create the show? Yes. Does he still need to be part of it? Absolutely not. My best analogy is this. George Lucas created Star Wars, and for that I'm eternally grateful. But now that I've said that, I would now like to enter into evidence The Phantom Menace. I can honor George Lucas and still want him to have nothing to do with Star Wars ever again. Like, ever. You may not have loved The Force Awakens, but it was what Star Wars was. Fun, fast, and a good time. Todd, you created Gold Rush. Thank you. But now it's time for you to go. Let's keep this one nice and short. Has he found gold? Yes. Has he made millions? Yes. Has he made millions from the gold he found? No. Not even close. I've broken this down a few times, so there isn't a reason to do it again. If you want to see that, you can go here. If your idolatry of Todd is based on his gold mining prowess, you might want to think again. Has he accomplished something? Sure. He made the show. He had a couple of seasons where it looked like he did well, but even that's debatable. So who am I to judge? Well, I'm nobody. I'm just some guy on the internet who has limited editing skills and terrible narration. And I know some of you think it's terrible because I read the comments. But in the same way people can criticize what I do, I can criticize what he does. Saying I'm not a gold miner, and therefore I can't criticize what he's doing, is such a silly argument. Can you not take a critical look at your local sports team because you're not a player? Am I not allowed to talk about electricity because I've never been struck by lightning? Of course not. There's a thing called freedom, man. And it's a good thing, and it's a precious thing. And I'm not that great at history, but I know it was the summer of 1903 when President George Washington said, "I've come here to kill British and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum." I don't know all of what that means, but I do know it means I can criticize Todd Hoffman. This is the toughest one for me. I don't like where Gold Rush is, but I like where it was, and I'm hopeful for what it could still be. Over the years, I think we've all had our favorite characters. John Schnabel is an easy one. Not sure how anyone could dislike him. Anyone not like Freddie Dodge? Gene Cheeseman? All hardworking, all smart, all know what they're doing. After that, it gets a little dicier. I love Dakota Fred, and I know that's controversial, but if you don't believe the nonsense they portrayed at the start of Season 2, and I don't, he accomplished a lot with what he was given, which was never like the resources they gave to Todd. Parker is also controversial. Some like his drive, some can't stand his attitude. Tony Beets? Personally, I liked him better when he wasn't a main character, but he's okay. So I like many of the characters. I like Dave, Juan, Mitch, and Thurber with his mustache alone. He makes the list. So it is possible to like the characters, but not like the show. I was ecstatic in Season 5 when they announced Dave was going to split with Todd and join up with the Dodge brothers, and that's what I would still love to happen. And that's why I keep watching. There is a core to this show that can still work. Put some qualified people together, people we care about, who have real personalities, who we want to see win, and see what they can do. And so I keep watching, because I hope it can still happen. So here's where it's all going to come out on the table. It's not just my opinion. It's everyone's opinion. Like everyone. Don't believe me? Maybe you would believe a worldwide poll, taken from random individuals at all stages of their life, and from varied backgrounds. So I give you Gold Rush's Facebook page. It's been a trend for a while, but especially this season, it's overwhelming. Check out anything they put on their page, and you'll see dozens of anti-Todd posts, and they're always the highest rated comments. I would read some, but I'm not sure I want to use that kind of language. And the ratings are starting to show the Todd fatigue. After years of increasing ratings, they are starting to go down. Season 7's premiere episode was the lowest rated premiere since Season 1. You could say it's because the show has been on for so long, and I would say yes. This show has been doing the same thing for too long. Are we really to believe that in Season 7, Todd still doesn't know the importance of digging test holes? Or checking maps? Or maintaining equipment? Or how to get water out of a hole? Does anyone really believe anymore that the wash plant will fall and crush a worker? Or that the dozer will drive off a cliff? Or that a mining season will be ended because of a missing bolt? Of course not. And no amount of added sound effects or strategic commercial breaks will convince anyone otherwise. If the purpose of social media is to interact with your audience, and the vast majority of your audience is saying, we're a little tired of Todd Hoffman, might it be time to move on? To something else? Anything else? Fine, it's Todd's show. Make him an executive producer and pay him to stay at home. He has nothing left for us. The move to Oregon might even prove that. It's like he doesn't even want to be off on these adventures anymore. So what am I saying? Just this. Gold Rush is in crisis. Now, I don't believe it's time to shut it down, but I certainly don't believe everything's okay and we can all just sit around a campfire and tap helmets. I used to think I was just a voice in the wilderness, but I don't think so anymore. I think the tide has turned on Todd Hoffman, and the solution could be so easy. How about give us a fresh crew? Dangerous Catch isn't afraid to do this. Or if you won't do that, shake up the crews. Parker was just a walk-on character in Season 1, but you let him go on his own, and it was new and different and good, and you did the same with Dakota Fred and Tony Beats. It's okay to do something new, and it's also okay to let things go. Todd may have provided the instructions to bake this cake, but this cake has been baked, and we no longer need those instructions. We know what works, and we know what doesn't. And there's one thing we know that doesn't work anymore. Todd Hoffman.